Okay, so Supriya, we are starting with a new topic, that is control and coordination. Okay, see, it's like this is another lesson from human physiology that we are going to discuss, and one of the other very interesting aspects of human physiology. Okay, so we have already discussed a lesson on respiration and circulation. Okay, and you know very well what we mean by human organ systems, right? In that other lesson, we have seen two different organ systems. Here also in this lesson, we are going to learn about two more organ systems, okay, which are very, very necessary, okay, for their functioning and all. Okay, so when you talk about the organ systems in human beings, you know very well, all the organs that we have in our body, they are not independent. One organ having control or some coordination or relation with some other organ, because ultimately they are present inside one package, one organism.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So here, when we are talking about the topic called control and coordination, the name of the lesson is not the name of any organ system as such. The name of the lesson is actually the functions of two organ systems. So let us understand what you mean by control and coordination. So in the beginning, they have explained about these two functions taking place in other animals. In short, we will see that first. And then according to that, we will see how it is well developed in human beings. Okay. So the first word is something called control. Very common English word. What is the meaning of the word control? Control means what? Control means to control. Be scientific. Yes.
Influence to the power to
influence. Okay, that's a good word. Okay, see, it's like, for example, suppose you have not eaten anything for about 4 to 5 days.
Yes.
Okay, so after, at the end of the 4th or 5th day, how will you feel when you are not eaten anything?
Yes, very weak.
Yes, you will feel very weak, correct? So weak in the sense your body requires very high amount of energy.
Yes.
So at that point of time, suppose you get a feast. 56 भोग मिल गया, खा रहे मस्त. So you gulped it like anything. Bakasur ki tarah. Okay. So you had a good amount of food. How do you feel after that?
Full.
You will feel full. But what about weakness or energy point of view?
I will feel, I will not feel weak. I will be energetic.
When you say you are not feeling weak, will you feel strong?
No.
You will feel energetic. That's right.
Healthy.
You'll feel normal.
Yes, normal.
So under such a situation also, because you have not eaten for 4 to 5 days, do you eat that much amount of food which you would have eaten in 4 to 5 days?
No.
Can you eat at any point of time like that?
Yes.
कि 4-5 दिन कुछ नहीं खाया and 4-5 दिन में जितना खा सकती थी उतना एक साथ खा लिया. Is it possible?
No. Yes. Maybe.
What are you giving 3 options? Tell a proper answer. At a single time.
Maybe.
At a single time, can you eat that much? 4 days ka imagine,
yes,
8 meals.
I might eat everything.
Okay. Suppose if I ask about a normal human being, then?
I'm a normal.
No, tell me. That you are understanding very well, huh? Suppose in one meal you have say 3 chapatis.
Okay.
So 8 meals के हिसाब से कितना हो गया? 24 chapatis. So at a time, can you eat that much?
No.
If you still say yes, then I will ask you normal human being.
No.
You cannot have, right?
I can't.
तो जितना 4 दिन में खाते हो उतना एक टाइम पे नहीं खा सकते.
Yes.
Even if you are very damn hungry. So you have some capacity. Correct? Similarly, if I ask you like 4 to 5 days तक पानी नहीं पिया बिल्कुल, you are very thirsty like anything. So
Yes.
suddenly, can you drink a drum of water?
No.
You cannot.
No.
So the body has got some control.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. Yes.
So it's like under any situation, there is some regulation that is shown by the body. You might be like extremely tired with heavy work or whatever. So you go to sleep. But can you sleep for 3 days continuously non-stop?
No.
No. There is some control. Automatically, even if nobody is waking you up, if everything is favorable, at one point of time, you will wake up on your own.
Yes.
So there is something in the body which is doing this job. That is control. And when you are
Control.
very tired, when you have food, suddenly you do get a very robotic energy or something that you start dancing
No.
around. No.
No.
So the rate at which the energy is liberated is also under control. Okay, we have seen circulation, we have studied about the heart.
Yes.
How many times in a minute in a normal human being the heart beats? Yes. In a minute.
How many?
In a
In a
minute,
minute.
how many times does a heart beat normally? Come on, how can you forget this number?
2 times.
Approximately in a minute.
72 times.
Normal human being, I'm telling. Bolo.
6 times.
72 times per minute.
72. I told 72 times.
No,
and
you
then
didn't. Now you're going to
No,
write
I
this
did.
72 times.
I did tell 72 times. And then you told for a normal human being. Then I got confused that I said 6.
No, you are not audible. Okay. Giving the benefit of
Sure.
doubt.
I am audible.
Giving the benefit of doubt, let it be. So 72 times per minute, right? And we had said that it is a range 60 to 90 times per minute. So it's like very deep sleep, एकदम relaxed condition. It can go up to 60 or something. And in a very, very terrible state, it can go around 90 or something. Okay.
Yes.
So, but that 72 or 90, does it become 1000 per minute?
No, 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 no.
That never happens. More than a limit, it won't go. That is called control. So all such examples which I told you just now, these are all processes taking place in the body. Whether it is breathing number of times in a minute, the beating of the heart in a minute, okay, the other functions like hunger, thirst, sleep, or whatever. All these activities are taking place at their own rate.
Yes.
Or own speed. So it doesn't go beyond the limit. And that is taken care of by this function called control.
Yes.
The second word is coordination.
Coordination.
Coordination is another literal English word.
Yes.
Okay, we say that you coordinate with that person, ऐसे बोलते हैं.
Yes.
Okay, so coordinate करने का मतलब क्या है? The simple meaning of coordination means a sequential working. Sequential or a systematic working. Okay, consider the easiest one, say your digestive system. Okay, we eat food through the mouth. Chewing, masticating, cutting, biting, everything takes place in the mouth, mixing with the saliva.
Yes.
Once that is done, you swallow it. After that, your job is over, voluntary part. Then starts the involuntary functions.
Yes.
The food pipe or the esophagus knows how it has to pass it down. And while the food is in the mouth or the throat or the esophagus, does the stomach secrete the gastric juice at that time?
Yes.
No.
No.
When the food is in the mouth or the throat, the stomach does not secrete gastric juice.
Yes.
पहले से इतना acid क्यों बना के रखें? Only when the food reaches the stomach, after that the cells of the stomach are stimulated and gastric juice is produced.
Yes.
इसका मतलब क्या है? There has been some coordination.
Yes.
Getting it? And when the food is in the esophagus or the stomach, the digestive enzymes in the intestines are not produced. That production takes place only when food reaches over there. So ये जो functioning है कि one after the other when it has to happen, that is very sequential. उसको बोलते हैं coordination.
Oh yes, I got it. Yes.
Recollect the heart also you have studied. When the auricles are in systole, that time the ventricles are in diastole simultaneously.
Okay, got it.
All four do not go into systole. Is there any misfunctioning happening normally? एक auricle systole में तो दूसरा diastole में चला गया, गड़बड़ हो गया. It is not a dance form कि one person lost a step.
Yes.
Getting it? So ये coordination.
Okay,
This
got
is
it.
taken care of systematically in the body throughout. Respiratory system, when you're breathing, inspiration.
Yes, inspiration.
Inspiration bolte hain. Okay. So that time lungs expand, diaphragm goes down, intercostal muscles expand. Okay, and the rib cage comes
when you
forward.
exhale, the diaphragm.
The reverse expand. So
yes,
ये भी systematically हो रहा है.
Yes.
Does it happen that when you're breathing, one lung has expanded, one has contracted? No.
No.
So ये coordination.
Yeah.
So these are the examples in our own body that we daily come across, which are taken care of most oftenly in a involuntary way. Now, other than that, there are many things which take place voluntarily.
Voluntarily.
Yes. Imagine.
So 1 minute.
Yeah. What happened?
1 minute. Something happened.
What happened? So imagine a situation like you are at home and जो गरम इस्त्री होता है ना, वो कहीं रखा हुआ है on and you are not aware. By chance you touched it. So how do you react? First of all, will you react? Or will you just keep it touched and okay think अरे वाह कितना गरम है? नहीं. You will.
No, I will.
How will you react? Will you start singing? Will you start dancing or something else? What will be your reaction?
Scream.
You will scream because you will get a pain.
Yeah.
And your skin is going to understand that is the temperature is very hot. That means यहाँ पे कौन सा system काम कर रहे हैं? It is the nervous system working inside you. Imagine you are walking somewhere outside and barefoot without any footwear. So by chance you step on something very sharp. What will be your reaction? Yes, this will be your reaction.
I will shout.
You will shout, not like Tom and Jerry, right? Ki face pura laal ho gaya and right. So there will be this system inside you that will make you realize that yes, you have been hurt with something sharp.
Yes.
Right? Similarly, if you are feeling very hungry, if you are feeling very thirsty, so you yourself come to know about it. Does your neighbor come and tell you, Supriya, you're hungry, eat something?
No.
Of course not. So that means inside us, there are a lot of such things which are going on, which make you sense. The main word over here is sensation. So there are many such situations, many such things in the environment around you as well as inside you, to which you should be responsive. So there are two important words again here. Ek has stimulus, the other one is response.
Stimulus and response.
Yes. So only when there is a stimulus, you will respond. And that stimulus can be of any type. We will see that in the further part of the lesson. Okay. So there are stimulus from inside you or within you, and there are stimulus from outside you also. Okay. So if you are in a place where it is very cold, so your skin comes to know that it is very cold.
Oh yes.
If you are having a pain in the abdomen, so you yourself come to know कि अंदर से pain हो रहा है. Getting it? So all these are nothing but stimulus. And this stimulus is necessary because only then you will give a response.
Yes.
So control and coordination is going
Ah,
hand in hand with response to stimulus.
stimulus.
And
Yes,
this is
correct.
a phenomenon shown not only by human beings, it's for every organism, including plants.
Mhm.
Simple example, if you have a potted plant on a window,
Potted plant.
in a
Yes,
window,
I have.
okay, yes, I've
Yes.
seen that. So that plant, if you see it growing for a period of days,
Mhm.
you will notice
Mhm.
that the plant first grows straight and then bends towards the window.
Yes.
Almost every plant you notice that.
Mhm.
Your stem ऐसे सीधा होगा, then बाहर की तरफ bend होगा. Suppose you
Ah.
turn the pot, make it bend inside, and see again after a few days. What do you notice?
Outside.
Again, it will take a turn towards the outside. मतलब उसको बाहर क्या देखना है?
Sunlight.
It has to receive the sunlight. इसका मतलब
Yes.
the plants are able to sense that there is sunlight coming from one direction and I need that. So that is nothing but sensing to the environment or responding to stimulus. But plants don't have the same mechanism as what animals and human beings have. Getting it? If somebody comes and pinches you, you will feel a pain.
Yes.
But if you go and pinch a plant, it's not going to shout.
Ah, of course. Yes.
Getting it? So the mechanisms are different. Okay. In the case of animals and human beings, of course, we are also animals, right? There is a mechanism by which there is response to stimulus. So all these are examples from your daily life, which are necessary so that why this response to stimulus is necessary, because only then the survival of the organism becomes better. Like if you feel hungry, only because you know how to respond to a stimulus, you will go towards food and eat it.
Yes.
Only when you are thirsty, you know how to take water and drink it. If you feel a pain, you will know how to respond to it and ensure that the treatment is given.
Yes.
So any organism, it is always better if it is able to respond to a stimulus. It's like there is a deer in a grassland or a forest and a leopard comes nearby. So the deer understands.
Yes,
The
correct.
deer is able to see the leopard. Getting it? Or maybe the leopard will growl loudly, so deer will hear that.
Yeah.
उसको पता चलेगा. So it is not going to sit there and think अभी मुझे क्या करना चाहिए. It comes spontaneously. Yes, I have to run. And of course, I have to run away from the leopard, not towards the leopard. Getting it? So ये सब चीजें क्या है? Response to stimulus. Getting it? Okay. So let us take a look at all these things: control, coordination, response to stimulus. In the case of different animals, they take place basically by two methods. One is electrical method and the other one is chemical method. Yes, we have electricity within us, but of course not a huge one. The short circuit ho jaye, it's a minor one, but we have electrical impulses in our body, in the animal's body. Okay, and at the same time we have a lot of chemicals produced inside us that also take care of these functions. Inko bolte hain hormones. So we will see them all in this lesson. So first we will understand nervous system. Okay. So basically nervous system means what? It is a system of wire-like structures in our body, which are nothing but cells. We call them as the nerve cells or the neurons.
Neurons.
They are spread out in the body from the head to the toe.
Toe, yes.
Okay. And if you remember, we have discussed kingdom Animalium, animal classification. So the most primitive group of animals are the poriferans.
Porifera.
Sponges. Do you remember that?
Yes.
So there, because it's a very primitive group of animals, the nervous system is not very well developed.
Yes.
So right from porifera up to hemichordata, up to vertebrata, you can see all the systems are also advancing or evolutionary advancement is seen. Same way, ये हम लोग को example पहले starting में क्यों दिया है? Because we will understand what a primitive type of a nervous system is in lower animals. Then we will talk about nervous system in human beings.
Okay.
So like very primitive animal like Hydra.
Hydra.
Coelenterata, Nidaria. You remember that?
Yes.
It has got these tentacles and all. You
Steamy
can
diarrhea.
see now when it is having tentacles, it is producing stinging cells. Okay, so it is able to
Yes.
catch its prey from the surroundings. For
Yes.
that, it has to sense its surroundings.
Yes.
So there is a primitive nervous system within the hydra also. And it's a very primitive system. It is called as a nerve net.
Nerve net.
Net means what? Network like.
Oh.
पूरे
Yes.
शरीर में these lines which you can see, they are nothing
Those
but
are
directly the
nerves.
nerves which are spread out.
Oh.
So
Okay.
उसमें impulses pass on होते हैं, the respective part of the hydra comes to know what it is. That's a very
Oh, wow.
simple system in hydra. Just remember the word nerve net.
Nerve net.
So this is spread out across every part of the body of the hydra, and it takes care of
Yes.
every function of the hydra.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it's like
Yeah.
it is not even a unidirectional one, like in the case of advanced animals. It is said to be multi-directional. कि कोई particular direction वगैरह नहीं है, and there are no proper sense organs which the hydra has. It is not having eyes, ears, nose or anything.
Yes.
That is
Yeah.
something in the higher animals you can see. तो किसी भी point पे इसको stimulus मिलेगा and spread होकर किसी भी direction में जा सकता है. But the nervous system has at least started in the evolution. तो hydra में वैसे याद रखना है कि it is in the form of nerve net.
Yes.
Okay.
Nerve net.
So later on we will see the types of neurons also. But अभी पहले देख लेते हैं कि दूसरे animals में कैसा है, so that we can directly come to human beings.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one. It is like very important statement over here. The diffused type of nervous system is the first important landmark in the nervous system.
Diffused.
Diffuse means very primitive type and a spread out type. There's no proper arrangement as such. उसको diffuse.
It's the first important landmark.
Because nervous
Yes.
system शुरू
Correct.
हुआ and यहाँ से evolution हुआ ना.
Yes.
That's why.
हाँ, correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So then next one we will see the example after hydra. We will take a look at planaria. You remember flatworms?
Yes.
Which phylum? Flatworms belong to which phylum?
It was 1 second. This.
Quick.
Platyhelminthes.
Correct.
Platyhelminthes. Yes.
Platy means
Oh,
flat,
yes.
helminth means worms.
Yes.
But this is slightly advanced than the nidaria.
Yes.
Nidaria के बाद platyhelminthes आते हैं. Correct? So there is a central nervous system on one side, planaria. Yeah, mostly like parasites, yeah, flatworms or something. So here you can see this flatworm has got a brain. But of course, this brain is much different than what we have. Brain का मतलब क्या है? We will see the structure of a neuron after this. Neuron में there are two main parts. One axon and one dendron.
Yes, I know. Yes, axon and
cyton. Sorry, cyton. Axon and a cyton. Cyton is the actual cell body. Axon is a projection.
Okay, yes, correct.
So many axons, when they are combined together, it forms something called as a ganglion.
Huh?
Ganglion. Ganglion. We'll come to that once again. उसको ganglion बोलते हैं. Many ganglions, when they are together, उसको brain बोलते हैं. Simple terms.
So wait, can you explain again?
Brain में neuron में ना. Okay, I'll show you this for now. ये देख, एक neuron जो एक cell है nervous system का, it has got one cell, main cell, जिसको बोलते हैं cyton, and there is one process from it which is called as axon. Just a very broad structure I'm showing you now. Okay, so ये axons जो है, when there are many neurons together and सबके axon इस तरह से जब combine होते हैं या aggregate होते हैं,
okay,
so we call it one ganglion. The word is ganglion.
Oh, I got it.
So many ganglia, yeah, aggregation of such a ganglia at one point, उसको brain.
Yes. Got
That's, for now, just understand that much.
Yes.
We will come back to the structure of neuron once again. Okay? So this flatworm, as you can see, it has got a aggregated structure in the anterior part of the head, जिसको brain बोल रहे हैं. And there is one eye spot which is literally not an eye.
Yes.
But a primitive type of a sense organ जैसा developed. And you can see slightly systematic arrangement of the nerves.
Yes.
There are two main nerves arising from the brain. इनको nerve cord बोल रहे हैं. And then वहां से branches पूरे शरीर में systematically था. This is slightly advanced as compared to what you saw in Hydra.
Yes.
So यहाँ पे you can see two nerve cords present. And then they are interconnected to each other.
Yes.
So that means whatever sensation this animal is going to get from the surroundings, that will be systematically passed on to one part of the body. That's the brain.
Yes.
Then the brain will process, okay, what is the stimulus received. Accordingly, the response will be decided. So ये system advance हो गया. Getting it? ऐसे system को बोलते हैं. It's a ladder type nervous system which you find in flatworms.
Ladder, yes, correct.
So Hydra में it was a nerve net. Planaria में it is a ladder type nervous system.
Okay, got it.
Now you understand this much. Okay. Any doubt still here?
No doubt.
Okay. Now let's come to the neural tissue.
Neural tissue.
Yes, neural tissue. Now we are talking about human beings mostly. Okay, because वो complicated है तो हमें समझना है अच्छे से. So in the case of human beings, neural tissue consists of mainly two types of cells. Tissue है तो cells के बने हुए. So neural tissue दो type के cells. One of them is called neurons, and the other one is neuroglia, or also called glial cells. Neuroglia is also called glial cells, and the other one is neurons.
Glial. Okay, got it.
So ये दोनों पहले हम डिटेल में देखते हैं कि how is the structure of a neuron and what are the different types of neuroglial cells.
Got it.
ये दोनों मिलाकर बनेगा neural tissue. Then we will see the types of neurons, their functions. उसके बाद we will come to the human nervous system. Okay. So let us take a look at the structure of a neuron first. एक diagram बताता हूँ. Take a look properly. Okay.
Diagram.
I'll draw and show you. See, look at the screen. See, first of all, when you say a neuron, okay, उसका approximate shape ऐसा है कि it has a circular part like this and there is a long process like this, एक balloon जैसा.
Yes.
Now see the exact structure. Okay, there is one circular part, okay, like this. I'm purposely drawing it like this. I'll show you. Okay, and there is a projection from one side, like
projection. Acha, okay. Axon.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
And from this part also there are projections like this.
Oh, kata. Yes.
Kata kata nahi, it is not corona. Getting it?
Oh,
it
yeah,
has got
looks like
long or
corona.
short. It has got long or short projections like this. I'll tell you what are they.
Okay. Yeah.
Just one simple structure, and different types of neurons can have some variations.
Yes.
Okay, pay attention. So ये जो part है, okay, the upper globular or the main cellular part, उसको बोलते हैं cyton. Y T O.
Oh yes, I know. Cyton.
Okay, cyton, also known as cell body.
Cell body or cyton. Cyton cell.
And
body.
there is one more name to it. Can you tell me what?
Oh no. What is it?
Cyton or the cell body, also known as, it's called perikaryon. It's called as perikaryon.
Huh?
Yes,
Okay,
cyton or the cell body, also called perikaryon. Why it is so?
Cyton
Because
cell
this
body
is
perikaryon.
actually a cell, one continuous cell, and it has got its own nucleus.
Yes.
Okay, तो न्यूक्लियस को हम लोग बोलते हैं कैरियन,
Yes.
एंड व्हेन यू से पेरिकैरियन इट मींस सराउंडिंग द न्यूक्लियस, इसलिए उसका नाम है पेरिकैरियन।
Oh.
ओके, तो
Okay.
ये हो गया
Okay.
साइटोन, एंड द रिमेनिंग
Yes.
पार्ट दिस प्रोसेस इसको बोलते हैं एक्सॉन।
Axon. Yes.
गॉट इट? रिमेंबर दिस।
So can you explain perikaryon wala part again?
Peri means surroundings,
Yes.
carrion means nucleus.
Okay.
Remember cell
Got it.
division, karyokinesis, prokaryotic, ये karyo word आया था देखना मतलब
Perikaryon.
carrion means
Yeah.
nucleus, तो इसलिए इसको
Got it.
पेरिकैरियन या साइटोन भी बोलते हैं, सेल बॉडी भी बोलते हैं। साइटोन you have to remember mainly.
Okay, ठीक है। Cyton, cell body, perikaryon.
Yes.
And
तो अभी
axon.
in this let's talk about the cyton first. So cyton में this is a normal cell having a nucleus, and inside
Yes.
the cell it has got its own cytoplasm.
Yes, yes.
Okay, this cytoplasm shows the presence of many granules.
Granules, yes.
इस cytoplasm में बहुत सारे granules हैं.
Granules.
Okay,
Yes.
what are those granules known as? There is a name to it. It is called as NISSL'(S), that is Nissel's granules. It's called Nissel's
Nissel's
granules.
granules. Okay, got it.
ये उन granules का नाम है जो cytoplasm में present है. Granule में small grain like
NISS. Nissel's
Nissel's
granules.
granules.
Okay, got it.
ठीक है? Okay. They are nothing but reserve food material which the nerve cells constantly require because यहाँ functioning हमेशा चलते रहते हैं. Okay. Now, coming to these small processes which are there. Okay, these processes which are constantly there across everywhere, इनको बोलते हैं dendrons.
Dendrons, yes.
They are
Those
known
are
as
dendrons. Yes.
dendrons. ठीक है? Those processes are called as dendrons. Now, from the dendrons, there are further branches that are given out. Like this. Across every dendron, you will see there are further branches coming out. This you will find it everywhere.
Oh yes, correct.
Right? So what are those
Yes.
further branches known as?
What are those known as?
They are known as the further branches of the dendrons are known as
Dendrites.
correct. They are called as dendrites. Very good.
Dendrites.
Got it?
Yes.
Okay.
I
So
like yes.
in the cyton portion, you have seen a nucleus firstly. Okay. Nucleus is surrounded by cytoplasm.
Yeah.
Nucleus is surrounded by cytoplasm containing granules. You can label the cytoplasm also.
Yes.
Okay. Neuroplasm करके भी बोलते हैं cytoplasm because it is a part of the neuron. Okay, that you can label. Okay, cytoplasm का, in which there are Nissel's granules present, and the cyton has got its own projections which are called as the dendrons. The dendrons have further branching process which are called dendrites.
Yes.
They are nothing but extensions of the plasma membrane. ये पूरा cell है इसका plasma membrane, and there cannot be any cell wall because we are talking about animal cells. Getting it? Coming to the lower process, इसको axon बोलते हैं. So at the end of the axon, there are branches like this.
Yes, correct.
What are those branches known as?
They are not called dendrites.
No, they are not dendrites.
But they are called as, I have read it.
They are simply called as axon endings.
Okay. That's it.
They are simply called axon endings. Okay,
fine.
Sometimes in some neurons, there are small bulbous structures at the end. ऐसे छोटे-छोटे bulbous structures हैं, उनको herring bodies करके बोलते हैं. This is not in the case of every neuron. Herring bodies, HERRING. So I'm not writing it out here.
Oh.
Okay. And they can also be called as receptors.
Hmm.
They are also
Receptors.
called as receptors because this is
Receptor.
where the stimulus is received.
Receiving. Yes, correct.
Okay, the stimulus is received in this part of the neuron, that is the nerve ending or the axon ending. Okay,
Yes, correct.
so ये axon. Now this axon having its own membrane. Axon या cyton का जो अपना खुद का membrane है, that membrane is known as, it is called neuri. It is called as neurilemma. It's called as the neurilemma. Whenever the word is lemma, it means a membrane.
Okay.
So it is
Lemma.
neurilemma.
Lemma is membrane.
Membrane, correct. A covering.
Okay.
Okay.
सर आप ब्रैकेट में लिख दो ना वहाँ पे.
क्या लिखूं? Membrane, covering.
Yes.
I'll write covering.
Okay, fine.
या माउस पकड़ के लिखना पड़ रहा है. Okay, it is covering.
Yes, got it.
Okay. Now this axon has got a fatty sheath that is covering it.
Oh, I remember the structure very well.
Yes, there are this fatty sheath which is
Yes.
covering the axon.
उसको
क्या बोलते हैं?
क्या बोलते हैं?
It is made up of fat or adipose tissue जो बोलते हैं. Okay, that is known as something with M.
Oh, you're waiting for me to answer.
It is something with M. Do you
I
remember?
don't remember.
I
M,
taught you
M
this
for
earlier. Yeah, 10th,
M
9th
for-
में या 10th में पढ़ाया था मैंने.
wait.
Okay, it is called as
Continue.
medullary sheath.
Oh yes, medullary
It's called as medullary sheath.
sheath.
Sheath मतलब covering. Okay.
Yes. SHEAT.
Yes. SHEATH. Sheath.
Oh, thank God.
Okay. तो ये
Yes.
इसका भी अपना function है. I will tell you. Okay. So it's like, okay, do one thing. Remember the word medullary word मत याद रखना. There's another word.
There is.
I'll come to that.
Which one?
It is called, that's a better word. It's called myelin sheath. MYELIN.
Myelin.
Myelin sheath.
Oh,
Okay.
myelin.
So
Yes.
there are those neurons which have a myelin sheath on the axon. उसको बोलते हैं myelinated neurons. And those which
Myelinated.
do not have myelin sheath, उसको बोलते हैं non myelinated neurons.
Okay, got it.
And if you observe carefully, this myelin sheath is not continuous across the axon. At some points, they are absent. दिख रहे हैं?
Yes.
There are gaps. Okay.
Yes.
वो जो gaps हैं, उनको बोलते हैं node.
Non-myelin.
That is called
Modules.
as node of pronounce it. It is called as node of बोलो Ranvier.
Reindeer.
Ranvier.
Ranvier. Oh,
Reindeer कहाँ से
Ranvier.
दिख रहा है?
नहीं मेरे को वो समझा नहीं.
You are a unique student. Some other students pronounce it Ranveer. Okay, it is node of Ranvier. It is called node of Ranvier. At that point, the myelin sheath is absent. RANVIER.
ठीक है, Ranvier.
Ranvier. Okay. So,
Yes.
are these points clear?
Clear.
Neuron का structure समझा?
Yes.
Okay. And along with the neurolemma, यहाँ पर मैं just एक बताता हूँ. We have seen कि neural tissue में दो type के cells होते हैं. One is the neurons. Pay attention. One is the neurons.
Yes.
And the other one is neuroglial cells. हमने बोला था.
Yes. Yes.
Those neuroglial cells are associated with the neurilemma. ये जो मैंने बनाया ना, this is separate cell completely. पूरा
Oh.
न्यूरॉन एक सेल है and these neuroglial cells are separate. इनको हम लोग बोलते हैं neuroglial cells which are associated with the neurons.
Oh.
Getting it? So we will see
Okay,
these
got it.
also separately. इनको बोलते हैं glial cells. Okay? अच्छी तरह समझा?
अच्छा समझा.
ठीक है? Now,
Yes.
based on this, let's see
Hmm.
neurons which can be of 3 types.
Yes.
Okay? 3 types of neuron कौन सा होंगे पता है? I'll write it here first. The first type is unipolar neurons.
Unipolar.
Unipolar neurons.
Yes.
Unipolar का मतलब है the one which I have already drawn over here. ये वाला. You can see one cyton having one axon. So unipolar.
Yes. Yes.
Getting it? The other type is bipolar.
Bipolar. Two.
So one cyton, 2 axons.
Two. Yes.
That is a very rare one. Okay, वो अपने
Oh.
eyes के retina में bipolar neurons present है.
Hmm.
Okay, and then the third and the most common type is multipolar neurons.
Multipolar. Yes. Correct.
Getting it? So there are these
Yes.
3 types of neurons based on structure.
Wait.
Based on the structure. Is it clear?
Clear. Clear.
Okay. अच्छी तरह समझा?
Yes. अच्छा तरह
Fine.
समझा.
So it's like
Yes.
bipolar मतलब one cyton having
Hmm.
2 axons. And
Oh.
multipolar means one cyton having many axons.
Many. Yes. Correct.
Then it is
Yeah.
called multipolar. और ये जो मैंने बनाया, this is unipolar. And this one which I have drawn and shown you, that is also an example of unipolar.
Okay. Yes.
Is
Correct.
it clear properly?
Yes. Clear.
अच्छी तरह
Properly.
समझा? Okay.
अच्छा तरह समझा.
So I am saving
Yes.
this, so you can take a look at this later.
Okay. Oh, you're saving
Go on.
this?
I'm saving it. I'll pass it on to you, or you can take a snap also along with it.
Okay, I will. Perfect. Smile. Okay, done.
Okay. All the parts of the neuron are clear properly.
Yes, clear.
No doubt.
No doubt.
Okay. So let's go back to the lesson. Okay. So we have seen all these parts and the locations.
Yes.
Okay. Now, let us take a look at the different types of neuroglial cells. Now you know what are neuroglial cells. Uska location pata hai. So depending upon the place and the type, the neuroglial cells are of various types.
What? Okay.
Neuron के साथ जो associated. First see the names. We'll see their functions also one by one. Okay. So types of neuroglial cells, when you say, they can be ependymal cell. बोल नाम बोल. Ependymal cell.
Ependymal cell.
Then है oligodendrocytes. You can laugh later. बोलो. Oligodendrocytes.
Oligodendrocytes.
Correct.
Yes.
Satellite cells.
Satellite cells.
Then you have astrocytes.
Astrocytes.
Microglia.
Microglia.
And Schwann cells.
Schwann cells.
Okay. Remember the
Okay.
names. We are going to see a table now. उसमें सब लिखा हुआ है देखना details.
Okay.
Okay. So it's like depending upon their location, they have their own respective function. See this.
Oh.
This is a very important table.
Oh my God.
Okay. Now, when you talk about neuroglial cells, okay,
Yes.
they are distributed either in our central nervous system or they are also distributed in the peripheral nervous system.
Peripheral nerves.
So ये पहले याद रखना है कि there are some neuroglial cells which you will find only in the CNS. We will see what is CNS and all. अभी कल इतना समझ जा. Central nervous system means that part of a nervous system which is in the central axis of the body.
Central axis of the body.
So central nervous system के दो part है, brain and spinal cord.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so that forms your central nervous system. We'll see the details of that next time. Okay.
Yes.
In this central nervous system के जितने neurons हैं, उनके साथ जो neuroglial cells attached है, they are of these type. Each one having its own structure and function. So talking about the first one, oligodendrocytes. We have seen the diagram above.
Yes.
Correct.
Oligodendrocytes.
Correct. So oligodendrocytes कैसा है? These cells, they have few branches. Okay?
Yes.
And they form mainly the myelin sheath around the axons. Now you know these words. Myelin sheath.
Oh yes, I know myelin sheath.
Okay.
That.
So
Yes,
axon के ऊपर जो myelin sheath रहता है ना, because of that the neurons get a whitish color. Myelin sheath के वजह से neurons को white color के appearance आते हैं. That's why all those neurons which have a myelin sheath, when their axons are exposed, it appears as a white matter.
White. Okay. Got it.
Okay. And जहां पर cytons का aggregation होगा, उसको बोलेंगे gray matter. ठीक है. So these words white matter and gray matter will come again in the lesson. Okay.
Yes.
So as you know, myelin, it is an insulating sheath. Okay, covering the axon, and it is made up of proteins and fatty substances. So ultimately, the neurons are the cells through which the electrical impulses are passing.
Electrical impulses.
Small electric charges.
Yes.
जो stimulus को carry कर रहे हैं. Okay, so when the impulses are passing through the neurons, those impulses should not go and mix with some other neuron.
Okay, got it.
It's like as an organism, imagine कि at any given time, you are not getting only one stimulus. You can get more than one stimulus.
Yes.
It's like अगर तुझे ठंडी लग रहा है तो उस टाइम पे भूख भी लग सकते हैं.
Yes.
More than one stimulus, and for each one you have to respond accordingly.
Oh, I got it. Yes.
So if you are bombarded with many stimulus at a time, responses have to be completely respective. Otherwise, what will happen will be a mixed match of responses.
Yes.
इसका response उसको दे दिया, उसका response इसको दे दिया, but ऐसा होता है क्या? It doesn't.
No.
So it is the myelin sheath which is preventing this situation.
Okay, got it.
Neurons के ऊपर cover करके रखा है, so impulse जा रहा है. It is not getting spread out to any other neuron surrounding. Imagine the planning that is done.
Yes.
Getting it? And at the same time, it is able to ensure that the impulses travel quickly.
Yes.
तो वो होता है oligodendrocytes.
Oligodendrocytes.
ठीक है?
Yes.
Second one, microglia.
Microglia.
See the diagram. ठीक है? Microglia. Textbook में दिया ना diagram.
Oh yes.
Other page, right? Keep the diagram.
Astrocytes almost same दिखता है.
Yes. Microglia, also called as brain macrophages.
Brain?
Macrophages.
Face. Okay, got it.
They are actually small size cells having few branches. And if you remember, we had discussed about the blood circulatory system.
Yes.
Three main types of cells found in the blood.
Yes.
RBC, WBC,
WBC.
platelets.
Yes, correct.
Are they? Erythrocytes, leukocytes, thrombocytes.
Oh, ha.
So in that WBC, there are two types. Granulocyte or granulocyte. You remember that?
Yes.
Granulocyte mein there are three types of cells. Acidophils, basophils.
Oh, yes. I remember.
Yes, I remember. And
yes.
agranulocyte mein two types. Lymphocytes and monocytes.
Monocyte, yes.
तो
correct.
WBC का जो मोनोसाइट का टाइप है उसमें से डिराइव होता है ये माइक्रोग्लिया.
Derive होता है.
These monocytes of the WBC, they convert into microglia.
Okay.
And they act as macrophages.
Macrophage.
Macrophage matlab kya? There are cells which will eat other cells. Okay, so sometimes if there is any injury or some maybe dead neurons या cell के अंदर कुछ और debris वगैरह तो उसको कचरा साफ करने का काम कि these cells will eat up all the unwanted material from the neurons so that the stimulus transmission is not hampered.
Okay, got it.
ये उसका काम है. And at the same time in the CNS they mediate an immune response. Immune matlab kya?
So
Basic
wait, I'm getting
resistance.
confused.
Immune
Wait.
response means what? एक तो ये मैक्रोफेजेस वाला काम करते हैं, दूसरा दे मीडिएट इम्यून रिस्पॉन्स. टू मेन फंक्शंस. The microglia has got two functions. As I said,
Microglia. Yes,
it is the monocytes of the blood which get converted into microglia. Okay, and they are associated with the neurons. The first function kya hai? They work as macrophages. It means in the cell at any point of time due to metabolism or any such thing, there would be like even there can be an injury, there can be cell debris which are formed which needs constant cleaning, removal. So that is done by these microglia. And secondly, it's like if at all by chance there is any pathogen attack or infection, so to some extent these cells are able to destroy those pathogens. So nervous system के साथ जुड़ा हुआ immune system, that is microglia. Now you understood this? Okay.
Yes.
Next type are the astrocytes. As the name suggests and as the diagram also shows, they are star-shaped cells.
Star-shaped.
Okay.
Yes,
and
correct.
in the central nervous system, they are the most abundant type of neuroglial cells.
Abundant.
Yes.
Okay.
Maximum amount.
Most abundant.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in the brain, they have a lot of other functions. We will see something called as a neurotransmitter. Okay, neurotransmitter का मतलब है from one neuron to another, how the impulse jumps. So there is some chemical produced in between the two neurons, उसको neurotransmitter बोलते हैं. We'll see the synapse after this. Okay.
Yes.
And at the same time, they maintain something called as BBB.
BBB.
Okay, blood-brain barrier.
Yes.
Okay.
Blood-brain barrier.
Yes. So they also regulate the transmission of electrical impulses with the brain. So ये सब उसका functions है astrocytes का. And these are found only in the CNS. Okay. Next है ependymal cells. Now these cells are either squamous or columnar. You know the meanings of this.
Epithelial tissue.
Sometimes ciliated also. It's like when we'll study the human nervous system in detail, you will see in the brain and in our spinal cord. Internally, there are many hollow cavities present.
Hollow cavities?
Cavities inside the brain. Hollow cavities. उन
Yes,
hollow
yes.
cavities में there is a fluid present. Okay, that fluid is called CSF. CSF stands for cerebrospinal fluid.
Yes, I know.
It's called cerebrospinal fluid. तो ये जो fluid है ये brain के अंदर से CNS के अंदर से nourishment provide करता है. So this fluid production, okay, CSF का production and its circulation is taken care of by these ependymal cells.
Ependymal cells. So wait, what does ependymal cell do?
Okay, I'll show you this one. Just suppose this is our brain.
Oh wow. Yes.
Okay. Internally in the brain, there are these hollow cavities present.
Hollow cavities.
अंदर से इस तरह के hollow cavities like this. Okay. We'll see the details later. इनको ventricles बोलते हैं. The hollow cavities also.
I know.
Okay.
Yes.
So these ventricles or the hollow cavities, they have fluid present within it.
Okay. Yes.
There is a fluid produced. तो ये जो cavities का जो lining है ना, like here itself, these ependymal cells are present. And they produce this fluid inside the cavity.
Oh.
Now you understood?
Oh. Okay, I understood.
Okay.
Understood.
So they produce this CSF, cerebrospinal fluid, throughout the ventricles of the brain and the spinal cord.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So we have seen the different types of neuroglial cells in the central nervous system.
Yes.
Okay. We have seen oligodendrocytes, microglia, astrocytes, and ependymal cells. Now let's take a look at the types of neuroglial cells which you find in the PNS or the peripheral nervous system. Peripheral nervous system is also an offshoot of the CNS. The main जो है अपने body का वो है CNS, the brain and the spinal cord. उसमें से जो branches निकल के जाते हैं towards the sides of the body, that's called peripheral nervous system. Okay, we'll come to that also later. यहाँ पे neural system देखते हैं, neuroglia. There are two types of cells in this. First one is Schwann cells. So in the PNS, PNS में जो most abundant है, that is called as the Schwann cells.
Oh, okay. और इसमें CNS में
astrocytes.
CNS में yes, correct.
Astrocytes was the most abundant name.
Yes, correct.
Yes. Getting it? Okay.
Getting
so here, the Schwann cells, their function is to produce the myelin sheath.
Myelin sheath.
Axon के ऊपर जो myelin sheath हमने बताया
था. To produce the myelin sheath.
That is taken care of by Schwann cells.
Okay.
And the other one is satellite cells. They support the functioning of the neuron. Simple.
How do they support?
Whatever the neurons do, uska what you can say as a catalyst kind of a thing. कि इसके nucleus भी इसको regulate करेगा, functioning becomes more efficient. So ये satellite cells का काम है. So like that we have seen how many types of neuroglial cells? 1, 2, 3, 4 in CNS and 2 in PNS.
PNS.
Is it clear? That table is very important. Learn all the types of neuroglial cells with their locations and the function and the structure.
Yes, clear.
Yeah. Okay.
Clear. Yes.
Now, what is the difference between a neuron and a nerve? जो मैंने diagram में पूरा detail में explain किया, that was the diagram of a neuron which I have shown you. Getting it? Nerve क्या होता है? See, firstly, it's like we have seen something, we have heard about something called white matter of the brain.
Yes.
Axons, medullated fibers जो रहते हैं axons के जब उनका aggregation होता है तो white matter. So in that white matter of the brain, there are small groups of cell bodies present, small cells present. उनको बोलते हैं basal nuclei.
Oh, हाँ, basal nuclei.
Getting it?
Yes.
So when such a bundle of axons, neurons के axons का bundle, when it's like a fixed bundle, उसको बोलते हैं nerve. So neuron is one cell. Getting it? But when there is a bundle of axons of many neurons, उसको बोलते हैं nerve fiber.
Got it.
Getting it?
Got it. Yes.
Okay. And neurolemma I have already shown you. So अगर वो myelin sheath present है neurons में, okay, then it is called as a mediulated nerve. And if the myelin sheath are absent in the neurons, we call it non-mediulated nerves. All neurons do not have a myelin sheath. Okay. So impulse conduction by the mediulated nerves is much faster. You can say 50 times faster than that across the non-mediulated ones, because mediulated का मतलब क्या है? Myelin sheath है, adipose का protection है, insulation है, so impulse cannot jump from one neuron to another. so it goes faster, smoothly. Okay,
Yes, correct.
but non-modulated में ऐसा नहीं. And such a
Yes.
bundle of nerves, one fixed bundle, उसके ऊपर जो covering tissue present है, that is called as endoneurium.
Endoneurium. What is endoneurium?
See, nerve क्या है? Aggregation of many axons of many neurons.
Yes.
वो एक nerve हो गया. Like that, many nerves together. उसका पूरा bundle. उसको बोलते हैं nerve fascicule. That's called as a nerve fascicule. उसके ऊपर के covering को बोलते हैं endoneurium.
Okay, got it.
Getting it?
Got it.
Now,
Yes.
there can be sometimes above the endoneurium one more covering around it. उसको बोलेंगे perineurium.
Perineurium.
सबसे अंदर वाला जो covering है that is endoneurium. उसके बाहर वाला जो covering है that's called perineurium.
Or perineurium.
And if the bundle of nerves is very large, so there will be one more covering on the outer side that's called epineurium.
Yes, got it.
See, neurium याद रखना है. Endo, peri, epi. Okay.
Yes.
And these are nerve cells. They are ultimately cells, living cells. They have to function. For their functioning, energy is needed. Energy चाहिए तो respiration करना है. Respiration के लिए there are those granules present as a substrate, and oxygen is supplied by the blood.
Blood, yes, correct.
So the blood supply is also there to the neurons.
Neurons,
Oxygen
yes,
and
correct.
nutrients constant supply करेगा, waste matter constantly remove करता रहेगा.
Okay, got
Now
it.
you are understanding the connection between circulatory system and this one.
Yes, understanding, understood, understanding.
Okay, relax. Okay, so we have seen the nervous system, I mean the nerves and the neurons, and we have seen neuroglial cells. Okay.
Yes.
One more thing. First, I'll show you this. Okay. See, when you talk about types of nerves. Okay. The first type is called as, एक काम करता हूँ, पहले मैं बताता हूँ types of neurons.
Okay.
Okay. First one is called sensory neuron.
Yes.
Sensory neuron का मतलब क्या है?
मतलब only sensory organs.
Unidirectional. Okay.
Yes.
It can conduct stimulus.
Stimulus, yes,
from
correct.
receptors to CNS. उसको हम लोग बोलते हैं sensory neuron. Stimulus को receive करेगा from the receptors and it will pass it on to CNS.
CNS, yes.
Okay.
Central nervous.
Second type of neuron is called motor neuron.
Oh yes.
Motor neuron means it can conduct response from CNS to effectors. जहां पर जिस ऑर्गन में स्टिम्युलस रिसीव किया उसको बोलते हैं रिसेप्टर. वो सेंस ऑर्गन है. Where the nerve endings are there, they are receptors.
Yes.
Getting it? And receptor में से stimulus लेने के बाद it has to first go to the CNS, either brain or the spinal cord.
Yes.
In the CNS, the stimulus will be processed. कि okay, ऐसा ऐसा stimulus है, अब क्या? Getting it? So once that is understood, the corresponding response will be generated, and that response has to go via motor neuron to the effector.
Yes.
And the effectors always is either a muscle or any gland.
Yes.
Because muscle अगर होगा तो see कोई भी stimulus का जब हम response देते, the response is always in one of the two ways. One way is by movement.
Yes.
Movement of a part. कि जैसे गरम इस्त्री को छू लिया तो you remove your hand. Movement.
Yes.
Okay, if there is a sudden bright light on your eyes, you close your eyelids. Movement.
Yes.
Getting it? You were about to yawn, so there was movement. Getting it? Okay.
Yes, got it.
Other method of giving a response is by a secretion of a substance. So it's like, suppose you are very hungry. You're very hungry. 3-4 दिन कुछ नहीं खाया. Okay. Suddenly after that, you get the smell of very good, delicious food being cooked. So you experience something called mouth watering.
Yes.
That means mouth watering का मतलब क्या है? The salivary glands have got a stimulus from the brain.
Yes.
Your stomach is already giving you missed calls. भूख लगी है. The brain has understood that, sent a message to the salivary gland, pour saliva, food will come. तो यहाँ पे कोई movement नहीं हुआ, यहाँ secretion हुआ. So that is also an effect. Whether you get the food or not, that's another part of the story. Getting it?
Yes.
But there was a secretion from the gland. So ये motor neuron वहाँ transmit करेगा. And the third type of neuron is called association neuron.
Association neuron. Yes.
Okay.
Sensory motor association.
Yes. In the CNS. This is present in the CNS. And it can process the stimulus to generate response. Got it?
Got it. Yes.
ये एसोसिएशन न्यूरॉन में डिसीजन होता है कि ओके ऐसा स्टिमुलस आया, पैनल बैठ के डिसाइड करता है कि क्या करना चाहिए, कैसे रिस्पांस देना है, एंड दैट इज क्रिएटेड, एंड देन द रिस्पांस इज पास्ड ऑन टू द मोटर न्यूरॉन. Did you understand this? ये हो गया टाइप्स ऑफ न्यूरॉन्स. Okay, now let's take a look at types of nerves. Okay, ये भी similar है वैसे, but take a look. When you say types of nerves, again there are 3 types. Now you are aware about the difference between neuron and nerve.
Yes.
ठीक है, अब nerves के type देख रहे हैं. तो first type is called sensory nerve, same name.
Of course, yes.
इसका मतलब क्या है कि these nerves are having bundles of axons of those neurons which are sensory neurons.
Yes, correct. Yes.
तो सिर्फ sensory neurons के axons है, तो उसको बोलते हैं sensory nerves.
Yes, हाँ ठीक है. Oh.
Getting it?
Okay.
Second type क्या होगा बताओ?
Continue.
Motor nerves. Getting it? It is motor nerve. So this one contains only bundles of axons of motor neuron.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Got it.
Getting it? Third type is
association.
I knew. Third type is mixed nerve. Mixed nerve का मतलब है it is a bundle of nerves containing sensory and motor neurons both. उसको बोलते हैं mixed nerve.
Okay, got it.
Flop हो गया.
Got it.
Right now. Understood the 3 types of neurons and nerves both. अच्छी तरह से. Okay.
But what does mixed nerve?
It does not do one function. उसमें mixed है. कि like neurons है जो sensory stimulus, कुछ neurons है जो sensory stimulus pass on कर रहे हैं, कुछ neurons है जो responses pass on कर रहे हैं, but all of them are present in one bundle, so we call it as a mixed nerve.
Okay, fine, got it.
Got it now? Okay. अगर sensory nerve है तो उसके सारे neurons सिर्फ stimulus pass कर रहे हैं. अगर motor nerve है तो उसके सारे neurons सिर्फ response को pass करते हैं.
Yes.
Sensory and motor nerve मतलब one way traffic. Mixed nerve मतलब two way traffic. ऐसे याद रखना.
Yes, correct.
Now is it clear? Okay.
Yes, clear.
Take a snap of this one.
Smile. One second. Okay, smile. Done.
Okay. So let's go back to that thing now. Here. तो हमने ये
Clear,
देखा,
clear.
ठीक है. Now we will see an important part, something called synapse.
Synapse.
Yes. Synapse क्या है पता है? I'll show you here itself. See, consider a unipolar neuron.
Unipolar.
Unipolar,
Okay.
मतलब one cyton, one axon, and having
Okay.
axon endings, right? And cyton के ऊपर dendrons है,
Yes.
correct? Okay. Same way. Now it's like, suppose you get any pain in the lower part of your feet. चलते चलते कुछ sharp चीज पे पैर रख दिया, stimulus.
Yes.
So your feet
Yes.
is in the lowermost part of the body, but the
Yes.
understanding that there is a pain in the feet is there in your brain, which is on the
Yes.
other side of the body.
Yes.
Correct. So that means you can imagine the distance between these two parts, the feet
Yes.
and the brain. Okay. So
Yes.
with such a huge distance, can there be just one neuron covering it?
No.
It cannot be one neuron, right? So feet से लेकर पूरे brain तक there will be many neurons one after the other.
Yes, correct.
So they will be arranged somewhat like this. It's not only between feet and brain, just one example I gave you. Getting it? तो ये दूसरा न्यूरॉन हो गया. तो ये इस तरह से जब न्यूरॉन्स एक दूसरे के साथ कनेक्टेड है. Getting it?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
there are
getting it.
dendrons, dendrites, and connected to the axons of the next neuron. Dendrons,
Yes, yes.
dendrites connected to the axons of the next neuron. समझ रहे हैं?
Mm-hmm.
So ये जो दो न्यूरॉन्स इस तरह से जब कनेक्टेड है थ्रू
Oh.
so in these neurons are not touching each other, remember that. ये neurons ना आपस में touch नहीं है. There is a very tiny gap in between. यहाँ पे ना there is a very tiny gap.
Oh, there is a gap?
Yes. एक का
If there is a
axon
gap,
और
how will they coordinate?
wait, relax. We'll come to that. When there is a gap between the axon and the dendrons.
Yes.
Okay, वो gap जो होते हैं ना उसको बोलते हैं synapse. That gap is called as a synaptic cleft actually.
Cleft.
और ये जो पूरा junction है उसको synapse बोलते हैं.
Okay.
Synapse और synaptic cleft दोनों का meaning समझा? So junction between the two adjacent neurons is called synapse.
Yes.
Okay, and in that junction, the gap which is there between the dendrites of one and the axon of the other, उसको बोलते हैं synaptic cleft.
Okay.
Understood the meanings of these two words for now?
Yes.
इसके बाद हम देखेंगे कि यहाँ पे कैसे impulse conduct होते हैं.
Okay, okay, okay.
ठीक है? पहले meaning ये दोनों word का meaning समझा. Okay?
Okay.
Now, before we understand the passing of the stimulus across the synaptic cleft, पहले कुछ properties हमें समझ रहे हैं nerve fibers के.
Oh no, that's not a property.
Yes. Okay. There are only about, I guess, 9 properties.
Wow. When you say only, it is always
Interesting to remember, right? In a bank check also, when you write 5 crore only. Okay. So understand. Easy to understand. See, nerve fibers के properties क्या हैं? Firstly, a nerve fiber have the property of getting excited or irritated. Excitability or irritability is a property.
Yes.
Nerve fiber जो है ना, it's ultimately having its own plasma membrane. ठीक है? Cell wall तो होगा ही नहीं यहाँ पे, because we are talking about animal cells. So that plasma membrane is said to be polarized. We'll come to that. What is polarized? We'll come to that. We'll come to that. Polarized का simple meaning है कि membrane के एक तरफ और दूसरी तरफ charges in the form of ions. They're mineral ions. तो एक side positive होंगे तो एक side negative रहेगा, polarized.
Okay, got it.
That's the meaning for now. And it can perceive a stimulus and become active. That is excitability or irritability.
Okay,
ये
got it.
nerve fiber का पहला property. Second property is it can conduct that stimulus. कि ऐसा नहीं कि सिर्फ उसने रिसीव कर लिया, वो रिसीव करके स्टिमुलस को आगे भी बढ़ाता है. That's the reason you get a pain in the feet, you are able to feel it in the brain.
Yes.
Getting it? Okay.
Yes,
अभी
getting
जैसे डॉक्टर जब इंजेक्शन देते हैं, give it in your hand, वैक्सीन लिया ना, like you have tinnitus. तो जब इंजेक्शन देते हैं तो यहाँ इंजेक्शन देते हैं, बट पेन कहाँ लगता है?
पेन दुखता है क्या?
Minor, like it is much bearable, nothing else. Okay.
I won't take
But
it then.
any injection if you see, पता चलता है.
Yes.
Getting it? Because from here to the brain, it has been conducted.
Yes.
So nerves have that property कि stimulus मिला तो उसको conduct करो.
Okay, got it.
Okay?
Yes.
Stimulus,
Yes.
we have already seen this word.
Yes.
It can be any
Response.
change in the environment. It can be internal or external.
Yes.
So the change है, it can be physical or it can be chemical. Sometimes electrical also.
Huh? Okay, got it.
Okay, in the internal
Yes.
or external. But ऐसा change which should be detectable.
Detectable.
It should
Okay, got it.
be able to be perceived.
Correct.
Getting it? Then it is a stimulus.
Yes.
And
yes,
it brings about ऐसा stimulus होना चाहिए जो nerve में excitation ला सके. Getting it?
Getting
And
it.
for any stimulus to be understood by us, it has to have a minimum intensity. कि कम से कम
Minimum
इतना
intensity?
intensity कि वो हमें पता चले कि ऐसा stimulus
Oh,
मिला.
yes, correct. Yes,
Getting
correct.
it?
Yes.
So stimulus
Yes.
must have a minimum intensity. उसको बोलते हैं threshold stimulus.
Oh, this I know. Threshold.
Okay. Threshold
I
नहीं,
know.
threshold नहीं भगवान.
Threshold.
Now,
Yes.
if the stimulus is very weak, कि उससे कोई response ही generate नहीं हो रहा है, then we call it as a subliminal stimulus, या weak stimulus.
If it is weak.
If it is a very weak stimulus that it is not able to generate a response. Response कब आएगा? जब stimulus पता चलेगा ना?
Exactly.
Then on the other side, अगर stimulus strong है,
Yes.
कि उससे response उतना ही generate हो रहा है जितना strong उसका stimulus था, then it is called supraliminal stimulus. Remember these two?
Yes, correct. Supriya.
Wow. Okay. Subliminal stimulus and supraliminal stimulus.
Yes,
Subliminal
correct.
means when the stimulus is there, but it is not effective enough that response is generated.
Oh, okay.
And
Got it.
supraliminal का मतलब है where the stimulus is strong enough that there is a response generated.
Yes, correct.
Understood the difference?
Understood.
Okay. Then
Yes, yes.
summation effect. Okay. Summation effect का मतलब है कि any stimulus, if it is coming just once, and if
Coming
it is
just
a
once?
weak one, एक ही बार मिला stimulus.
Okay.
एक ही बार मिला, and वो इतना
Yes.
weak था, subliminal था कि उससे कोई response generate नहीं हुआ.
Yes.
But if that same subliminal stimulus is received rapidly again and again, तो उससे क्या होगा?
What? ऐसा होता है?
Yes. कि अगर वही stimulus continuously बार बार दिया जाए subliminal, तो सबका effect add होकर एक बड़ा response बनेगा. Then it is called summation effect.
Okay.
So when
Okay,
the
that
same
explains.
stimulus,
Summation. Yes.
yes,
Correct.
summation मतलब addition simply.
Yes.
तो हर एक stimulus का respective responses को, like if you see, look at it arithmetically, they are added, and
Yes,
then a response
correct.
is generated. तो उसको बोलते हैं
Yes.
summation effect. Got it?
Okay, got it.
Okay. Next
Yes.
property है all or none law.
All or none.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
जैसे
Yes.
freedom struggle point of view, जियो या मरो.
Oh.
Okay. It's like if
okay,
this
I
is
got
a
it.
neuron, if this is a neuron या nerve fiber, तो अगर यहाँ
Yes.
स्टिमुलस पास ऑन हो रहा है तो the stimulus will be across the entire length of the neuron or not at all in that neuron. ऐसा नहीं कि आधा न्यूरॉन ने स्टिमुलस जनरेट किया दूसरा आधा नहीं पहुंचा रहा है. That doesn't
तो
happen.
मतलब नहीं रहेगा ही नहीं.
रहेगा ही नहीं या तो पूरा जाएगा.
What?
इसलिए all or
Okay, got
none.
it. Okay. Okay.
कि अगर स्टिमुलस को पहुंचा रहे हैं तो पूरा न्यूरॉन पहुंचाएगा.
Yes. नहीं तो
आधा
नहीं
अधूरा
पहुंचा.
काम नहीं करता.
Okay, got it.
Getting it? It's like
Yes.
you study completely or you don't study at all. Then it's called all or none. Now is it
Okay,
clear?
got it. Yes.
Getting it? Okay.
Yes.
Next is something called refractory period.
Refractory.
Period.
Refraction.
Refractory period. इसका मतलब है.
Yes.
Listen. One nerve has got one stimulus. Okay. That stimulus is received by the nerve and then it is conducted. So वो nerve imagine axon ending वहां पे receptor में मिला stimulus. From that axon ending, the stimulus is conducted across the axon to the cyton, to the dendron, to the dendrite, to the next neuron.
Slowly, slowly.
ये एक न्यूरॉन में कंडक्ट हुआ.
Oh yes, correct. Yes, yes, yes.
जब ये एक न्यूरॉन में कंडक्ट होके अगले न्यूरॉन पे गया, till that time this previous neuron cannot take any other stimulus.
Okay, got it.
एक टाइम पे एक ही stimulus.
Yes.
So that time gap between one stimulus getting conducted fully before which another stimulus cannot come. उसको refractory period.
Okay.
That is just about a millisecond. मतलब 1/1000 of a second. उतना ही.
Oh no.
मैंने बोलने में 5 सेकंड लगा दिया. Getting it?
Okay, got it.
So, however strong the stimulus can be, but unless and until the first one is fully passed across, the next stimulus cannot come.
Okay, got it.
Is it clear?
Got it, got it.
Okay.
Yes.
Then there is something called synaptic delay. Very interesting term.
Synaptic. That is उसका और उसका बीच में. Which का which?
Synaptic cleft मैंने बताया था. That gap.
Yes, cleft.
Between two successive neurons. ठीक है? तो एक न्यूरॉन से दूसरे न्यूरॉन में जब इम्पल्स जंप करके जाते.
Yes.
Okay. So the time required for one impulse to cross that synapse and go to the next one, उसको बोलते हैं synaptic delay.
Okay.
That is around 0.3 to 0.5 milliseconds. Yes.
To cross this to this?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
0.3 to 0.5 millisecond. Not even 1 second. Millisecond मतलब 1/1000 of a second. कि 1 second को 1000 parts में divide कर उसका एक हिस्से का 0.3 या 0.5 that fast it is. You can imagine कि like you are walking somewhere, you are stepping on something very sharp. How fast you realize it?
That fast?
समझ में आ रहा है ना कितना फटाफट हमें पता चलता है. ऐसा नहीं ना कि like you step on it. टॉम एंड जेरी में कैसा होता है? Step करते हैं, थोड़ी देर सोचते हैं, बाद में पता चलता है. ऐसा नहीं होता है ना? Getting it? That is synaptic delay.
Okay, got it.
Something called synaptic fatigue.
Fatigue.
Fatigue मतलब tiredness. Tiredness को fatigue बोलते हैं. When you have done a lot of excessive physical work and you're tired, उसको fatigue.
I am fatigued.
No, you are not fatigued. I'll make you fatigue now. Wait. Okay. So synaptic fatigue मतलब क्या?
Synaptic fatigue.
Yes. Synaptic cleft है.
Yes.
Impulse ने jump करके चला गया. It's like we'll discuss that now. In that synaptic cleft, there is a chemical released. उस केमिकल को बोलते हैं न्यूरोट्रांसमीटर.
Okay.
तो जब सिनेप्टिक क्लेफ्ट में न्यूरोट्रांसमीटर भरा हुआ रहेगा तो एक इंपल्स उसको पार करके आगे वाले न्यूरॉन पे जाते हैं. एंड उसके बाद जैसे ही वो न्यूरोट्रांसमीटर पार करके आगे निकल जाएगा, दैट न्यूरोट्रांसमीटर इज डिस्ट्रॉयड. देयर इज एन एंजाइम फॉर दैट.
Neurotransmitter destroyed.
Yes. The same neurotransmitter is not used for another impulse. वो खत्म कर देते हैं, फिर से दूसरा न्यूरोट्रांसमीटर सीक्रेट करते हैं.
Oh
Getting
no.
it?
Okay, got it.
So
got
it's
it.
like when the
You have so much to do. Yes, got it.
getting it. So there is exhaustion of the neurotransmitter because of its destruction by an enzyme.
Yes, got it.
So till that time, the impulse transmission is halted.
Hmm.
It's like impulse जो है वो dendrite पे पहुंच गया और red signal लगा हो.
Yes.
Neurotransmitter भर रहा है. जब वो भरेगा तो green signal आगे बढ़ो. Now you are getting
Yes,
it.
correct.
That is called as
Getting it.
synaptic
I'm getting
fatigue.
it. Synaptic
Okay.
fatigue.
Yes. Then the last property is velocity. This is something you hear more commonly in physics.
Of course.
So velocity एक factor या feature है which indicates the speed. So speed of the impulse getting conducted, उसको बोलते हैं velocity.
Oh, speed of the impulse.
How fast the impulse is conducted across the nerves.
Across
So it varies from one nerve to another. So if the nerves are long and thick, then the rate of transmission is higher, faster.
Okay.
And animals which are homeotherms, their nerve impulses are conducted faster. Warm-blooded, cold-blooded, याद है?
Yes.
Poikilotherms में transmission is slower.
Poikilotherm.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there are some nerves which are having voluntary action. That means it is under your control.
Yes, my
so
control.
Suppose if like you are in a batch of students, the teacher has asked a question, you know the answer, so you will raise your hand. So that's a voluntary action.
Yes.
Okay. Do you raise your hand without your knowledge?
No.
No. तो ऐसे voluntary nerves जो होते हैं, उसमें जो speed है conduction का, that is around 100 to 120 meter per second.
Oh.
एक सेकंड में 120 मीटर निकल जाए.
Okay.
इतना fast है. But in the case of involuntary nerves, which are not under your control, जैसे heartbeat and all, if you see, उसमें जो speed है, that is around 10 to 20 meter per second. Remember this. Okay.
100 to 120, 10 to 20.
Yes. Voluntary, involuntary.
Voluntary, involuntary.
Is it clear?
Okay.
Similarly, if the nerves are myelinated, there is a myelin sheath. So उसमें impulse fast है. But if it is non-myelinated, the impulse is slow.
Oh, okay. If it is myelinated, impulse is fast.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And slow.
Yes. And as I said, synaptic cleft, the gap. वहाँ पर जो gap है, उसका width है around 20 to 30 nanometer.
Oh, nanometer.
Yes. So it's like one neuron gap, another neuron. तो जहाँ से impulse आ रहा है, पहला neuron, उसको बोलते हैं pre-synaptic neuron.
Oh no.
And gap के आगे जो दूसरा neuron है, जहाँ impulse को जाना है, that is known as the post-synaptic neuron.
Post. Yes, correct.
Understood the words?
Yes.
तो pre-synaptic neuron से synaptic cleft से होते हुए post-synaptic neuron में जो impulse का conduction होगा, that is called as synaptic transmission. And it's a one-way traffic. उल्टा नहीं जाएगा.
Got it.
Understood the word properly?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we will see the types of neurotransmission, and one more part we will see, that is polarization and depolarization. ये दोनों आज के लिए देख लेते हैं, then we can stop.
Oh, polarization, depolarization.
That is also very easy. Okay. तो ये देखना अभी transmission कैसे होता है. Two types of synapses are there.
Yes.
There are two types of synapses. First one is electrical synapse.
What is electrical?
Yes.
There are two types of synapses.
Correct.
In that small
First
gap.
One is synapse. तो पूरा junction जो है, उसको synapse बोलते हैं. Gap को बोलते हैं synaptic cleft.
Oh, synapses.
We are talking about the synapse.
Okay.
उसके दो
synapse.
types. The first type is electrical synapse. Okay. So here, the presynaptic and the postsynaptic neurons are very close to each other. Okay, there is a gap of just about 3.8 nanometer distance.
Oh yes, 3.8
in the electrical synapse. एंड ये इलेक्ट्रिकल सिनेप्स कहाँ पे मिलेगा? इन दिस फर्स्ट थिंग, इन दिस केस ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिकल सिनेप्स देयर इज नो केमिकल प्रोड्यूस, न्यूरोट्रांसमीटर नहीं आता, वो इतना नजदीक है कि इलेक्ट्रिकल इंपल्स डायरेक्ट जंप करके चलेगा, so it is saving the time for the passing of impulse. Getting it? So ये ऐसे रीजन्स में मिलते हैं जहां पर impulse conduction बहुत फास्ट होना चाहिए and response जल्दी जनरेट होना चाहिए. So we have something called reflex action. Do you know that? We'll see that in the
Yes, I know.
when the response is quick.
Quick.
ऐसे जगह पर chemical synapse नहीं होते, electrical synapse होते. Because that is able to generate the response faster.
Yes.
Understood this?
Understood.
Okay. The other
Yes.
type, which is the more common one in our body, वो है chemical synapse.
Chemical synapses.
Getting it? So it's like
Yes.
it is between presynaptic and postsynaptic neuron, and the gap between the two neurons is slightly more as compared to that of electrical one. This gap is around 20 to 40 nanometer.
Oh. Okay.
वो कितना था? 3.8 nanometer.
3.8 nanometer. This was 20 to 40.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
So this can also be present between a neuron, or you can say a motor neuron and a muscle.
Oh.
मोटर न्यूरॉन
Oh.
मतलब सीएनएस से आते हुए इफेक्टर तक जा रहा है.
Yes, correct.
इसमें रिस्पॉन्स जनरेट होगा.
Yes.
तो मोटर न्यूरॉन एंड मसल के बीच में भी गैप है, उसको बोलते हैं न्यूरोमस्क्यूलर जंक्शन.
Neuromuscular junction. Okay, got it.
Getting it?
Yes.
Or
Yes.
it can also be between a motor neuron and a gland. Effector can be either a muscle or a gland.
Yes. अच्छा, okay, yes, correct.
Getting it? Okay. So अभी ये जो केमिकल सिनेप्स है इसके तीन कंपोनेंट्स है. ओके. फर्स्ट वन इज द प्री सिनेप्टिक टर्मिनल, तो एक्सोनिक टर्मिनल बोलते हैं.
Yes.
ओके. सेकेंड वन
Yes.
इज द सिनेप्टिक मेम्ब्रेन ऑफ द पोस्ट सिनेप्टिक सेल, जो आगे वाले सेल के डेंड्राइट पे रहेगा.
Okay, got it.
Getting it? And third one is the
Yes.
post synaptic neuron.
Of
Three
course.
component.
Yes.
Of course, ये जंक्शन के बारे में बात करते हैं.
Yes.
Correct? So now what happens is presynaptic neuron में impulse travel किया. For now just understand कि impulse क्या है. It's just a minor electrical charge.
Minor electrical.
Yes. इसके बाद हम लोग देखेंगे वो synapse actually क्या है. ठीक है?
Okay.
So that
Yes.
impulse travels along the axon to that axon terminal or to the end of the axon you can say. ठीक है?
Yes.
तो axon के end में बहुत सारे synaptic knobs. In the diagram I showed you, axon endings, herring bodies करके मैंने बताया.
Oh, yes. Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
तो इस तरह के
Yeah.
बहुत सारे axon knobs.
What is this pit?
Getting it? Okay.
Yes.
Axon
Yes.
knobs,
Hmm.
synaptic knobs. Okay. And these synaptic knobs have many small membranous sacs or small vesicles.
Vesicles.
एक एक नॉब के अंदर छोटे छोटे वेसिकल्स हैं.
Oh.
उसको बोलते हैं सिनेप्टिक वेसिकल्स.
Synaptic vesicles.
इन
Okay.
सिनेप्टिक वेसिकल्स के अंदर बनता है न्यूरोट्रांसमीटर के मॉलिक्यूल्स. वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट केमिकल सिनेप्स.
Wait, I'm confused.
आई शो यू दिस वे.
Sure.
ये एक्सॉन एंडिंग है
Yes.
यहाँ पर ब्रांचेस.
हाँ.
तो एक्सॉन
Yes.
एंडिंग में देयर आर दिस सिनेप्टिक नॉब्स.
Yes, correct.
Each synaptic knob contains small vesicles, synaptic vesicles.
Yes.
Getting it?
Getting it.
इन सिनेप्टिक वेसिकल्स के अंदर होते हैं न्यूरोट्रांसमीटर के मॉलिक्यूल्स.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
How is
Okay.
it
Okay.
clear?
Okay. Clear.
Okay. So what
Yes.
happens is whenever there is an impulse that reaches a synaptic knob, मतलब इस डायरेक्शन में आ गया. So on that membrane of these vesicles, on the membrane of these vesicles, there are something called calcium channels. इस membrane के vesicles के membrane पे छोटे छोटे पोर लाइक स्ट्रक्चर्स होते हैं जिनको कैल्शियम चैनल्स बोलते हैं.
Okay.
कैल्शियम is Ca+2.
Yes.
कैल्शियम चैनल्स क्या करेगा? They will allow the calcium molecules to enter, calcium ions to enter. It's like a gate.
Okay.
ये वो open हो जाएगा, calcium ions आ सकते हैं.
Okay.
Getting it? So when that
Getting it,
calcium
getting
channel open, impulse के आने पर calcium channel open हो जाएंगे. Because of that, the calcium ions will diffuse inward into the vesicle.
कुछ नहीं समझा. Diffuse?
ये देख. Can you see the calcium channels?
Yes, I can.
Yes. तो जैसे ही
yes.
impulse आया, you
हाँ.
can see the calcium ions are going inside through these channels.
Oh yes, I can see. Yes.
Now you are getting it.
वो purple, right?
हाँ. वो
Yes.
calcium channels है जो इनके membrane पे present.
Yes.
And nerve impulse के आने की वजह से calcium ions from outside this
हाँ.
will enter the synaptic vesicle.
Okay, got it. Yes.
How is it clear?
Clear. Yes, clear.
Okay.
It is clear.
जैसे ही वो calcium अंदर जाएगा, now what will happen? Calcium concentration inside the cell will increase suddenly. बहुत सारे calcium ions आ गए.
Yes, correct.
Okay. तो प्रीसिनाप्टिक न्यूरॉन के अंदर कैल्शियम आयंस के आने के वजह से देयर विल बी रिलीजिंग ऑफ न्यूरोट्रांसमीटर. मतलब पहले नर्व इंपल्स आया तो वो स्टिम्युलस बना कैल्शियम आयंस के ओपनिंग के लिए.
करेक्ट.
कैल्शियम चैनल्स ओपन हुए तो कैल्शियम आयंस अंदर आ गए.
करेक्ट.
कैल्शियम आयंस अंदर आ गए तो कॉन्सेंट्रेशन ऑफ कैल्शियम आयंस इंक्रीज.
बढ़ गया. Yes.
So that became a stimulus for releasing the neurotransmitters.
Okay. Oh.
कैल्शियम कॉन्सेंट्रेशन बढ़ गया तो एक्सोसाइटोसिस के वजह से न्यूरोट्रांसमीटर बाहर आ गया.
Okay, got it.
अब ये जो न्यूरोट्रांसमीटर के मॉलिक्यूल्स हैं.
So wait.
बोलो.
Exocytosis क्या है?
Movement of a liquid out of the cell.
Movement. Okay.
उसको
Got it.
एक्सोसाइटोसिस बोलते हैं. एक्सो मींस आउट,
Yes.
साइटो मींस साइटोप्लाज्म. उसके अंदर जो
Got it.
न्यूरोट्रांसमीटर केमिकल था वो सेल से बाहर आ गया.
Okay.
तो अब ये न्यूरोट्रांसमीटर सेल से बाहर आ गया तो आउटसाइड इट इज कमिंग इन कांटेक्ट विद द पोस्ट सिनेप्टिक न्यूरॉन.
Yes.
दोनों के बीच में
Oh,
गैप है, वो भर गया वहां पर. पोस्ट सिनेप्टिक न्यूरॉन के मेम्ब्रेन के साथ व्हाट यू कैन
Got
से
it.
अटैच हो गया, बाइंड हो गया.
Attach हो गया. Yes, correct.
तो पोस्ट सिनेप्टिक न्यूरॉन को पता चला कि न्यूरोट्रांसमीटर इज देयर.
Okay.
Getting it? Now depending
Yes.
upon the stimulus, depending upon the type of the neurotransmitter, the action
Yes.
of the postsynaptic neuron is either you can say excitatory or inhibitory.
Inhibitory.
Excitatory मतलब it will promote something.
Yes,
Inhibitory
correct.
मतलब it will prevent something. या
Opposite.
किसी process को
ठीक
off
है.
करे.
Yes, ठीक है. Got it.
ऐसे imagine कर कि stomach के cells में gastric glands are there.
Yes.
तो गैस्ट्रिक ग्लैंड में से गैस्ट्रिक जूस का सिक्रीशन या तो करना होगा या तो बंद करना होगा. तो इफ द फूड इज देयर इन द स्टमक यू वांट द गैस्ट्रिक सिक्रीशन टू बी ऑन.
Yes, correct.
द फूड
नहीं
हैज बीन
है, तो
डाइजेस्टेड
फिर
एंड पास्ड ऑन टू द स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन, गैस्ट्रिक सिक्रीशन शुड बी ऑफ.
Yes.
So according to the requirement the situation must be there. तो स्टमक के सेल्स में से सिक्रीशन मतलब इनवॉलंटरी है. Nerves are
Yes.
controlling it.
Yes.
तो ब्रेन से जो स्टिमुलस आ रहे हैं वो अकॉर्डिंगली डिसाइड करेगा. खाना है तो एक्साइटेटरी, स्टार्ट प्रोड्यूसिंग गैस्ट्रिक जूस. खाना नहीं है तो इनहिबिटरी.
Okay, got it. Got it. Yes.
ओके, अच्छी तरह समझा यहाँ तक.
अच्छी तरह समझा.
तो वंस दिस इज डन न्यूरोट्रांसमीटर गेट्स फिल्ड अप. Neurotransmitter, the most common one, I'll tell you the name also. The most common neurotransmitter that we have, it is acetylcholine.
Colon.
Acetylcholine. ये अपना common neurotransmitter है.
Okay, मैं लिख लूं?
Yeah, that's the name of chemical you should remember. Acetylcholine.
Where there.
So this neurotransmitter, it acetylcholine fills that gap. So impulses from the presynaptic neuron goes to the postsynaptic neuron via the neurotransmitters.
Okay, got it.
ये हो गया.
Yes.
Impulses सारे वहां पहुंच गए.
Yes.
Once that is over, all the impulses have passed on.
Post.
Then
Yes,
there is
correct.
no need of the neurotransmitter anymore. उसका काम हो गया. Neurotransmitter का काम हो गया.
Yes. बाहर आ गया
So
वो.
that neurotransmitter which was filled up in that gap has
Yes.
to be destroyed.
Has to be destroyed.
Destroyed because next time फिर से कोई impulse travel करना होगा तो फिर से acetylcholine बनेगा.
Okay, yes.
अभी वाला काम हो गया तो उसको destroy करना है. For that there is an enzyme called cholinesterase. Getting it?
Yes, getting it. Getting it.
This enzyme destroys the neurotransmitter and both the neurons are ready to transmit the next impulse.
Okay. और फिर बाद में तो cycle
इतना
continue.
सब कुछ जो explain किया, how fast it is happening.
Yes.
Getting it? इतना
In
fast
just
है, you cannot imagine also.
Yes, correct.
Impulse आया, okay. Calcium channels open हो गए, calcium ions अंदर आ गया, calcium ion भर गए, exocytosis हुआ, neurotransmitter बाहर,
yes,
neurotransmitter बाहर, neurotransmitter जाकर postsynaptic neuron के receptors को bind करेगा,
correct,
send a message that I am here,
yes,
impulses can pass, impulse
yes,
pass होके निकल गया, neurotransmitter
yes,
destroy करने के लिए
destroy
cholinesterase.
करने का cholinesterase, yes, correct.
All
Got
this happens in such a short time, you cannot even imagine.
Yes, correct.
Such a beautiful way in which nature has designed it. Agree
Yes,
with it?
correct. Agreed, agreed.
Correct? Okay.
Yeah.
So ये था synapse के बारे में.
Synapse.
We have seen electrical synapse as well as chemical synapse.
Yes, correct.
Now the last part for today that we will see कि ये जो impulse आया, impulse गया करके हमने जो बोला, what exactly is that impulse? That we will see now. So ये part complete कर देते हैं so that next time we can complete discussion about human nervous system.
Oh,
So these
okay.
are all related topics. So आज ही खत्म कर देते हैं, right?
Okay.
Another I think 10-15 minutes or something we'll be able to do it.
Yes, yes.
Right? So अभी देख.
Yes.
Say we are talking about a nerve impulse. Nerve impulse कहाँ पे रहता है? On the nerve membrane.
Yes.
यहाँ पे हमें किस पे focus करना है? On the membrane of the nerve. Plasma membrane. ठीक है? If you recollect cell structure in 11th standard, you remember fluid mosaic model?
Fluid mosaic model. Yes, I know.
Plasma membrane का है ना?
Yes.
So
I know the
plasma
diagram
membrane,
also.
yes, plasma membrane याद करना है. That plasma membrane has got many channels. जैसे अभी हमने इसमें देखा calcium channels. Okay, so these channels on the plasma membrane, okay, they maintain or they are able to transmit ions, mineral ions from one side to another side. तो यहाँ पर हमें दो elements के याद रखने हैं. One is sodium potassium and the other one is chloride ion, Cl minus.
Okay, got it.
Sodium potassium positive वाले and chloride negative one. So we know cations
Yes.
and ions.
Mm-hmm.
Getting it? Okay.
Getting it.
So it's like these channels, they are also known as voltage gates.
Voltage gate.
Gates. Okay. Now consider a situation where the neuron is not transmitting any stimulus.
Okay.
कोई impulse नहीं जा रहा है, ऐसा neuron imagine कर.
Okay.
उसमें कैसा situation रहता है? This part first diagram you see. इसको resting axon करके बोला है. Resting axon means no stimulus being conducted. Okay. So there, in such a situation, if you see the plasma membrane, there is a very high amount of negative ions inside the cell, and outside you can see a lot of positive ions. दिख रहा है?
Oh yes, I can. Oh, अच्छा वो negative है. Okay, I thought वो.
बाहर सब plus 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 लिखा है, अंदर minus minus लिखा है.
Yes,
So in a
minus
normal
minus.
situation, when there is no impulse being conducted, the neurons have this kind of a charge distribution.
Yes.
Getting it? Maximum negative
Getting it.
organic ions inside and high number of positive ions outside. तो इसको हम लोग बोलेंगे polarized membrane.
Polaroid. Huh?
Okay.